Hey guys, how are we all? Welcome back to AFC Game by Game. This is my brief thoughts on Arsenal's 1-1 draw out there in Paris tonight against Paris Saint-Germain. It was a very turbulent game. It was a very entertaining game, especially for the neutral, and I can't help but feel that had we gone into this game with the correct team lineup, we would have been coming away with 3 points. Um, in that first half, I thought for the majority of it, PSG were a far better side. We were let off by Edison Cavani, missing about 4 or 5 chances. They should have put this game to bed in the first half, and we were fortunate they kind of used up all their energy in the opening 45 minutes, and we were allowed a chance to bounce back in that second half, which we certainly did by playing some rather ecstatic football at times. But it should have been like that from the start. We simply weren't ready from well, I was going to say minute one, but in this instance it was second one. They got a really swift attack on the go. Serge Aurier bombing down that right hand flank, absolutely tearing Monreal a new one. Monreal not particularly helped by the fact that we started with Oxlade-Chamberlain on that left hand side, who has been known not to be the best player in terms of tracking back. So Monreal wasn't helped in that sense, but no one was really switched on in that opening 30 seconds. Mustafi was at fault as well. Whipped in cross from Aurier. They got that opening goal for Edison Cavani. A fantastic header past David Ospina. And we were on the back foot straight away. We responded quite poorly, in fact. It took us a long time to get into the game. PSG looked very frightening at times. The way they were working the ball out of very tight spaces. They made this game incredibly difficult for us and were electric right from the off. I think they really went out to prove a point in this game to show that they really were still a force in Europe despite not having the best of seasons in Ligue 1. I think Arsene Wenger went out with a point to prove tonight as well, starting Alexis Sanchez as striker once again, and it was a really odd one. And it was one that I still can't get my head around because when he moved over to that left hand side and was given that bit more freedom, and Olivier Giroud went on and played as striker, we looked like a different team, a completely different side. And you can't help but feel that had we started the game with Giroud as striker, or even Perez as striker perhaps, and Alexis on that left-hand side, this would have been a totally different outcome. Alexis got next to no service for that opening 60 minutes. We effectively wasted him for 60 minutes. He got a goal when moved over to that left-hand side. He, as I say, just generally looked a lot more effective. He was a lot more involved in our play, and he's just a lot more dangerous. It makes sense now that we should be playing players in their correct positions. We saw last season that it's square pegs in round holes at times. Playing Aaron Ramsey on the right hand side, Mesut Ozil on the left wing, persisting with Yaya Sonogo. I know he's an out and out striker, but persisting with him at striker a couple of seasons ago. I mean, we've just got to be playing what is best for the team and not resting our best players. I was amazed to see that Xhaka didn't start today. As well, and you could tell that we missed him at times. Francis Coquelin, I thought, despite his yellow card, had another sound game. Santi Cazorla, I thought he struggled in this match, and we could have potentially lined up with Mohamed Nene and Xhaka for this game. That was a pivot that I was sort of leaning towards going into the game, but at the age of coming up to 32 now, you do expect Cazorla to tire in these kind of games. I mean, he wasn't awful, but he certainly wasn't one of our better players out there tonight. I would have had no doubts whatsoever in starting Granit Xhaka. I mean, he's our £35 million man in the summer. I mean, he's one of our most expensive transfers. It makes sense to be playing our best players in a game of this stature, which is it raises the question as to why Petr Cech didn't start tonight. But hats off to David Ospina. He was absolutely immaculate, and you've got to say that we've seriously got two class keepers on our hands. And if Ospina is going to play to the level that he did tonight, despite one sloppy pass, if he's able to play that consistently, then I've got no problem with him starting. At home to PSG, starting him at home to Ludogorets, starting him away to Ludogorets. I'm happy for him to play every Champions League group stage game, but when it starts to get serious and we get to the last 16, that's when I want to see Petr Cech reinstated as Arsenal's number one keeper in the Champions League. But yeah, a 1-1 draw away from home. I mean, it's a superb result in my opinion. Every other team in our group drew tonight, so we're still in a fantastic position to top this group. We should be winning all of our other games, in my opinion. PSG at home definitely beatable. They look very dangerous at times, but as I say, they looked like they ran out of energy in that second half. And Cavani, despite getting that early goal, doesn't look like the player he was a couple of seasons ago. He really does. He looks short of confidence, and I think we've got to take advantage of that when we play PSG at home in a couple of months' time. But it's looking exciting. It's to not be playing our best football and still coming away with results. It's really good to see. A lot of positives we can take from tonight. I thought Alex Iwobi in the second half of the game was absolutely superb. He does show signs of being a young player at times. That's to be expected. He did miss a few chances, which you kind of feel Alexis Sanchez would have put in the back of the net. But he's getting into the right positions. He's making the right runs. And for me, it's evident that our wingers are Alexis Sanchez and Alex Iwobi. And then we've got options up top in Lucas Perez and Olivier Giroud. So that's the way it should be for me. That's one of our strongest attacks. And then we've got options like Perez can also play on the flank as well. Then we've got someone like Oxlade-Chamberlain in reserve, who was worryingly poor again tonight. Chamberlain had a very poor game in my opinion. He just doesn't seem to know what to do at times. He makes a few bombarding runs going forward, and you think that he's gonna evolve into something special, but he doesn't. He just runs into another player. He loses the ball very quickly. He overpowers every single cross that he puts into the box. How long can we persist with him? You can't say that Wenger isn't giving him his chance this season, because he is. But in my opinion, going into that game against Hull City, I want to see Olivier Giroud lining up in that striking role with Alex Iwobi and Alexis Sanchez on the wings, Mesut Ozil in behind. Mesut Ozil tonight had a particularly, I think he had a poor game, but it just shows what a class player he is, that he was able to produce a moment of magic, that pass into Iwobi, his shot going into the goalkeeper, it then ricocheted back to Alexis Sanchez. That pass, that pick out from Ozil to start the move was absolutely fantastic. Iwobi was unfortunate not to put it in the back of net, but Alexis Sanchez cleared it up by making it 1-1. And we could have won that game, but Iwobi had a fantastic chance to make it 2-1. But I'm more than happy with a point. Pretty funny that if you haven't seen it already, Iwobi put on his Snapchat story that he's gutted he missed those 2 chances. But he's got to keep his chin up, because he's seriously one of the brightest young talents in the Premier League. Really exciting player we've got on our hands here, and I'm glad to see that Wenger still trusts him in the big games away from home. But as I say, a lot of good things to talk about tonight, and that first half was rather poor. But if we can start these games quicker, if we can get our heads down from minute 1 or second 1, it's going to be an exciting season for us. This is a fantastic result away from home. If it was the last 16 of the Champions League and it was the first leg, we'd be up in arms. We'd be absolutely delighted with this result. So not too much more to say on it. Please to get your thoughts on this game in the comments box below. Oh yeah, one more thing. Right at the end of the game, Olivier Giroud and Verratti getting sent off. No idea what happened there. I still haven't really seen what happened. Giroud seemed to pull down Verratti, and then Verratti reacted to it, and it all just spiraled out of control. Both of them got sent off. Stupid from Olivier Giroud. He's 30 in a matter of weeks, and he's doing that. That is just unprofessional from Olivier Giroud. But anyway, good result, albeit Giroud's got sent off, so that's going to make life that little bit more difficult for us in our next game. But yeah, get your thoughts on this in the comments box below. Please do drop a like on the video if you have enjoyed it. And as always, I'll speak to you very soon.